So, my fellow golfers, nice to see you again. I thought today I would cover fairly quickly top 10 tips for course management. You've been seeing a lot of drills, you've been seeing a lot of tips, you've been seeing some comparisons of professional swings, some tips from the greats, some exercises, getting ready for your tee time. And I thought it would be valuable to cover some key elements for course management. I will also get on soon to a clip, top 10 tips that you can use on the range to make it closer to real world conditions on the course. Because often what you practice on the range isn't anything like what you actually face on the course. And therefore a lot of your practice may not be as valuable as it could be. Do subscribe, plenty more coming, including more comparisons of professional golfer swings and many, many more drills and tips, including from key people like Jack Nicklaus and other golfers, as well as golf teachers like Butch Harmon. I will also be doing some fault fixes, as well as covering things like how to do the draw and fade, how to do a stinger, how to address chunk shots, fat shots. So lots more exciting stuff. Keep that notification on. Give me a like if you like what you see. Do comment, contribute. So course management. First thing is, let's address your driver. My recommendation is that on the first tee, your first drive of the day, don't try to rip it. Try to have a much more steady center of the fairway hit, and there's some tips for that. For example, tee the ball lower, bring it an inch or two back, not center of your stance, but a little back behind your front heel compared to normal. Keep your body swing more parallel with your shoulders so that you can just get that first one in the fairway and give you confidence as you move on. Thereafter, grip it and rip it. Clearly getting that 20 or 30 yard extra is going to make a big difference to your next shot, your second shot, whether you're using then a hybrid on your par 5 as opposed to a 3-wood, whether you're using a 7-iron as opposed to a 5 or 6 iron, making it easier to reach the green if it's a par 4, for example. So that little extra distance that you can achieve, don't try to be a Bryson DeChambeau unless you're made that way, and have that flexibility and have that build, is going to make a big difference to you. So grip it and rip it, but not on the first tee. Tip number 1. Tip number 2, identify your trusty long club. Which is the long club that you feel most confident with, that you can hit well, that you can hit it in the direction that you want to, with the sort of trajectory you want. Be it a 5-wood, be it one of your hybrids, or be it a 6-iron. If you have one trusty long club, ideally one of the woods or hybrids, identify that, make sure that you really can get that nail down so that 9 times out of 10 you hit that extremely well and consistently. Identify that trusty long club. It'll get you out of lots of situations and help you with course management significantly. Number 3, lay up to your favorite yardage to the green. So let's say you like to hit your full wedge 120 yards, as an example. Then work backwards from where you are, let's say in the middle of the fairway, and especially on a par 5, and you say, well, okay, how can I get it more or less so that I am 110, 120 yards away from the green, so that when I get to that point, I know I can always take out that wedge and have a full wedge swing rather than have to suddenly do a half swing or 3/4 swing, which I haven't practiced a lot. So lay up to your favorite yardage, deduct from the green back to that yardage, and then back to where you are to figure out what you should be hitting from where your ball currently is to that yardage. Fourth, play the percentages on the green. So you might have a green which has a very severe slope on one side, or a water hazard covering half the green, or a very large bunker. Play to the other side of the green, or to the part of the green that is most away from danger and hazard. It'll really help your score, it'll help your confidence. It means you're not feeling anxious about the hazard that might be there or the severe slope. Play the percentages on the green. 5, have no stress putting. And the key to that, as I've covered in a couple of recent clips, is practice a lot of lag putting. Your distance control is absolutely key. Reading the green for slopes and how the ball moves on the green because of the tilts, you can also do, but place more emphasis on getting the distances right. That'll give you no stress in your putting. That means you always know you can get it close to the hole, 6 to 12 inches away every time, or even less if you can. And therefore it just then comes to a question of how you read the slopes. No stress putting. 6th, go slower on the downhill putts. Many amateurs, many high handicappers particularly, tend to overhit those downhill putts, and then they find themselves 12, 15 feet past the hole with another stressful putt coming back. So on the downhill putts, allow the slope to do a little work. Depending on the types of green, depending on the time of year, you'll figure out for your course or the courses you're playing at how fast they are. But just take into account that downhill putts should be slower. 7th, learn the knockdown shot. So have a plan B. So not that full shot, but let's say you're not swinging very well that day, you are losing a bit of confidence, let's say on your irons, your mid irons. Learn the knockdown shot. That's your plan B. It means you can always go to that club and that style of shot to get your game back on track. And through the round, there's always a few holes you play well, and then it goes off for a couple of holes. So the way to bring it back is that better drive, easier drive for the center of the fairway that I mentioned in tip number 1, and a knockdown shot, the hybrid or 5-wood that you have as a trusted club. Basically take a larger club than you normally do for that distance. So let's say the distance is 150 yards. You'd usually hit a 7-iron for that. We'll take a 6-iron in this case. Go down on your grip. Bring the ball slightly back to the normal position you would take for that full shot, for that full 7-iron. So if that's center of your stance, just bring it back half an inch, 1 inch. With your higher club, with your grip down. Bring your front foot, in my case I'm a left-hander, back a little bit. So don't take as wide a stance, because you're also going to take a smaller swing. You've got a stronger club. so you don't need to rip it and have that full swing. You take a smaller swing, a more reliable knockdown to get it a decent distance. So it's a really learn that knockdown shot. It'll come in handy in so many places. It's also particularly handy where you see a very narrow part of the fairway in the distance and you see hazards on both sides. Use that knockdown shot to just get it in the center. So that helps you avoid also trouble. So think positively. Here I'm going to go for a knockdown shot. 8th, around the green, try putting. So you're not on the green, you're off the green. Try putting to the hole. Try putting into the green. After that, then try chipping. And then only the 3rd fallback position, go for your wedge or lob wedge. So try putting from off the green, then try chipping as a second option, and then try your lob wedge. So don't immediately go for your wedge when you're off the green. Actually think, let me putt it. You may be using a hybrid to putt, and look at some of my tips on that. 9th, ride your good streaks. So when you're going well for a few holes, keep that confidence and positivity going. When it goes off for a hole or two, go back to your fallback positions. So there, try to be more conservative. Don't think, okay, I was really hitting it well there, so I'm going to go for the same. Somehow your swing might be slightly off, your alignment might be slightly off, or you're not turning enough, or you're not taking the full backswing, and you don't realize it. So go back to one of those plan B options, and as your confidence gets back, you can go back onto that positive streak. 10th, and an obvious one, stay clear of no-go zones. So you might say, well, that's the left side of the fairway, 150 yards down would give me the best angle to the green, but there's hazards there, there's thick rough there, there's out of bounds there. Stay clear of those. The more you stay clear of those, the more you will reduce your extra shots that you end up having to take. So don't be a hero. Course management is about managing all of these things, and that's a toolkit that I've just mentioned to you that will help you get around the course and still have a very decent score. And hopefully with some of the good tips that I've given you, whether it's the hybrid off the green to putt onto the green, whether it's the knockdown shot, whether it's the getting it into the center of the fairway with a drive that's a little bit more conservative, you will end up actually with a better score than usual, and you'll come off with far less negativity, and that will give you positive vibes not only for the next round but for the rest of the holes. So stay clear of no-go zones. I hope these 10 quick tips on course management are helpful to you. See you on the flip side. Keep enjoying, keep practicing, and the next clip on things to do on the range will help you look at things that you can do better on the range that will help you on the course. See you, my friends.